Hey, what's up with you guys? It's been a while. I wanted to introduce you to a few new features that I've been working on Uniswap ROI in the last few days. And if you're not familiar with the tool, most of you are probably already users. But if you're interested in Uniswap and investing in Uniswap, uniswaproi.com is a free tool that allows you to track and manage your liquidity. You can go check out and create an account. It's very easy. Now, when you are inside the tool, you can do essentially two things. So for one, you can select which pools to invest if you haven't invested or you want to check out potential new investments. And the other thing is you can really track the investment you already made. So let's start with the first part because there are a few new features, new additions that I wanted to point your attention to. So if we go in the pool section, there are two subsection, either the highest yield pools or the ones with the highest liquidity. So for example, click on the highest liquidity. These are the most a little more largest pools. And so what we see here is a selection, is a list, and for each pool you're going to see the current liquidity, and then sort of a projection of the Uniswap ROI over the next 30 days, right? So how is the projection made? There is a projection of the fees, there is a projection of the impermanent loss, and so sort of the the subtractions of the difference between these two gives you the next 30-day projected ROI, and also an equivalent yield per year. But the interesting thing, obviously, if you click, you're gonna see more details. And here I want to point your attention on first what you're seeing, and also like kind of the new addition. So the first section here is the value. Is essentially there are two sections. The first is the historical performance, and second is the forecast. Now, in the historical performance, here is the value of one pool token. So as I mentioned before, when you're investing in Uniswap, you're essentially providing liquidity, but you can also think about this as if you were buying a Uniswap pool token. So this chart essentially displays the evolution of the value of one Uniswap pool token, in this case in the pool Ethereum DAI, and you can see the value in US dollars or in Ethereum. And the addition here is that I have added sort of a breakdown between how much of this value evolution was due to the fees accumulated in Uniswap, how much it was due to the price effect. So, for example, just to give you an example, here we're looking at the Uniswap pool token for the Ethereum DAI in US dollars. If I disable the fees, this would have been the profile, but with the Uniswap fees, there is a nice addition sort of to the value. Now, the interesting part is actually this chart here that I'll explain in you a second, which is actually refers to the second section, which is the value projection, right? The forecast. Now, I've explained the forecast before, but essentially what the tool does, essentially looks at the three key parameters of any Uniswap pools, which is the pool size, the average volume that obviously determines, how many, the fees that are accumulated every day, and then the exchange in price, the relative price between, in this case, DAI and Ethereum, which determines the impermanent loss. And the tool looks at 30 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, today, and essentially projects out a value for the next 30 days, right? I always tell you that if you don't invest purely based on this projection, always invest based on the token. You must be comfortable holding the token. But this projection, is, yes, it's 30 days. But as every parameter changes pretty often, I always invite you to check the projection, at least like the actual results, at least every week, just to make sure that everything is going as expected, or if you have to make any correction. Now, and based on these parameters, there's this 4.02% in 30 days Uniswap sort of yield that is calculated here. Now, what I've added here, I wanted to do some back testing because some of you have been asking, but there is a projection there, but how does it compare with the actual results, right? Is this projection accurate? Also, there are other sites online that are showing some projection. How this sort of everything compares. So I added here this chart, and this chart is essentially an history of the projection given in each day, and then over a 1 week control period, the actual value of the return. So it's almost saying, for example, back a few weeks ago or a few days ago, the blue line is the projection the site was given, and then the actual orange was actually, after a week, the actual result that was in terms of Uniswap ROI. And you can see here, that, for example, in this case, the two lines are pretty close. Consider that these are, you must read this as a percentage. This is essentially a percentage return after a week. Now you can ask me, but why did you choose a week instead of 30 days? Since everything, the biggest projection is 30 days. As I mentioned, 30 days is a time horizon, but as everything changed so fast, the actual validity of that forecast is definitely it's definitely more accurate on a shorter time frame. So I selected a week as a control period, and you can see here, for example, here, the projection was 1.3% that you would have made in a week, and in reality was 1.6%. So it tends to be, for example, for this pair, a little like our forecast, a little accurate, a little more, let's say, conservative. And you can see for any pair, how the projection sort of compared, and you can decide. You can have an extra sort of element of decision, when you're considering this forecast, whether, for example, the pool is very volatile, so you need to take account of that, or if typically the pool, the Uniswap ROI has been tracking the actual result very well. So this is what I wanted to show you in terms of the pool section. And otherwise, there's a few other additions. Like, for example, here in the home page, if you have multiple addresses, some of you are tracking multiple addresses, there is a nice total here that wasn't there. So, for example, if you're tracking multiple wallets, you're going to be able to see the total of the three key numbers: the value today, the value invested, value if you held outside of Uniswap, for the sum of all the addresses may be useful to you. And then also if you navigate your address, you're gonna see a few more charts here and there. For example, you're also going to see per address the chart of your overall investment history in Uniswap, and the chart of the fees that you accrued over time. So these are a few whatever addition of the last few days. I hope you guys like them. If you have any questions, as usual, reach out to me. If you have any feedback, suggestion. By the way, there is also this our private community on Telegram. So if you are a frequent user of Uniswap ROI, you will receive the invite. That's really for the users that are most active, that are logging the most often. So do that if you want to join the community. And until next time, have a great one, guys. Talk soon.